That case of ammunition in your closet, the one you bought during the last panic. You think it is your insurance policy. It is quietly dying right now in the dark while you sleep. Not because someone is coming for it, because of where you put it. The garage, the basement, the trunk of the car, the three places that destroy ammunition faster than anything a politician could ever sign into law. And here's the part that should bother you. The day you go to replace it, in a growing number of states, you will discover that buying more is no longer as simple as walking into a store and paying cash. The chemistry is killing your supply from the inside. The law is making the resupply harder from the outside. Almost no one stockpiling ammunition understands either one. This is not a video about fear. There's enough of that on this channel and every other one like it. This is a video about two things: how long the rounds really last, and where the law has quietly turned resupply into a paperwork problem instead of a purchase. Welcome to the Survival Research. If you're not subscribed yet, hit subscribe and the bell. This is where we dig up what the survival industry would rather sell you 10 times over than explain once. Let me start with the lie you have been told. The ammunition box in your hand probably has a date stamped on it, and somewhere in your head sits the idea that 10 years from that date, the rounds turn into garbage. That number is real, but it is not a technical limit. It is a lawyer talking, not a chemist. Manufacturers print a conservative 10-year figure because it limits their liability, not because the powder gives up on schedule. The truth is harder and more useful. Stored correctly, modern brass-cased ammunition stays fully functional for 50 to 100 years. There are documented cases of military surplus rounds, decades old, firing as if they left the factory yesterday. So if a round can last a century, why does so much stockpiled ammunition fail in under 5 years? Because almost everyone stores it in the exact conditions that destroy it. No one ever told them otherwise. Here is the science. And it is simple enough that once you hear it, you will never forget it. 3 enemies: moisture, temperature swings, and air. I will give you all 3. But first, I have to tell you about something, because the full picture does not fit inside one video. This video is the surface. The complete picture lives in our documentation. The survival research package, the exact desiccant to round ratio for a sealed steel can calculated by volume instead of guesswork. The 3 locations in an average home that stay in the ideal range all year without a single dollar of equipment. The 5-second field test military armor is used to know whether an old round is safe to fire or about to wreck your weapon. And the complete state-by-state resupply map, including the states that quietly changed the rules while everyone was watching the headlines. Over a dozen analyses in one place. No filler? The link is in the description. But stay here. The science is still coming. So here is the first enemy, and it is the one that does the most damage. Moisture is the assassin. Humidity above 60% starts a slow chemical reaction inside the primer. Above 70%, corrosion can begin in a matter of months, not years, months. Humidity above 60% starts a slow chemical reaction inside the primer. Above 70%, corrosion can begin in a matter of months, not years, months. If you have made it this far, you already understand more about ammunition than the vast majority of people who own it. You are not a collector of boxes. You are someone who wants the thing to work when everything else has stopped working. Subscribe and share this with the one person you know who has a case of ammunition aging in their garage right now with no idea it is happening. Everything we could not fit here is in the complete documentation. Link in the description. Now back to the assassin, because the detail is what saves your stockpile. The primer is the heart of the round. It is the tiny charge that ignites everything else. When moisture deactivates it, you do not get a misfire you can shrug off. You get a round that looks perfect, sits in the chamber, and does nothing at the moment your life depends on it. The ideal storage humidity is between 30 and 50%. Most basements sit well above that. Most garages swing with the weather. You have been aging your insurance policy in a slow acid bath and calling it preparedness. Now stay with me, because the second enemy is the one that quietly kills half of most stockpiles. Temperature. The sweet spot is between 55 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Stable, boring, consistent. Heat above 100 degrees accelerates powder degradation dramatically. Cold below 40 degrees, repeated over and over, stresses the components. The trunk of a car in summer can exceed 140 degrees. An uninsulated garage in a place like Texas swings 60 degrees in a single day. Every one of those swings is a small hammer blow to the chemistry inside the brass. This is why the round that should last a century dies in 3 years. Not age, environment. You did not buy bad ammunition. You stored good ammunition in a terrible place. Now the third enemy, air and the moisture and oxygen riding in on it. A loose cardboard box on a shelf breathes with the room. Every humid day, it takes a breath of damp air. Every dry day, it lets a little out. Over years, that breathing corrodes the primer and the case from the outside in. The fix is almost insultingly cheap compared to the ammunition it protects. A surplus steel ammunition can, sealed with an intact rubber gasket, costs a fraction of what goes inside it. Add silica gel desiccant packs to absorb the last of the moisture. That is the entire system. A sealed can, a handful of desiccant, and one stable corner of your home. Now, let me be honest about the law, because the truth is more useful than the panic. You have seen 100 thumbnails screaming that they banned your ammo in secret. Most of them are lying to you. There is no silent nationwide ammunition ban. What exists is a patchwork, a map where the rules change the instant you cross a state line. Here is what is verifiable. In most of the country, ammunition still ships directly to your home with nothing more than proof you are old enough to buy it. Texas, Florida, Arizona, and most interior states have no special ammunition restrictions at all. The federal floor is simple. You must be at least 18 for rifle and shotgun ammunition, 21 for handgun ammunition, and a federally licensed dealer cannot sell to anyone in a prohibited category. But 6 states regulate ammunition sales in ways that turn resupply into a process. New York, California, Connecticut, Illinois, Massachusetts, and New Jersey. Those are the names that matter if you live there or order from there. California requires every round to ship to a licensed vendor where you complete the transfer in person and pass a point of sale background check. This was never secret. Voters approved it at the ballot box in 2016, and the system went live in 2019. New York routes ammunition through a licensed dealer, and direct residential delivery is restricted, tightest of all inside New York City. Connecticut, Illinois, Massachusetts, and New Jersey each require a permit, a certificate, or an identification card before a legal purchase. In Illinois, it is the firearm owner identification card. In Massachusetts, recent law sends shipments through a licensed dealer. And here's the genuinely new piece for this year, the one worth knowing instead of fearing. Colorado has enacted a permit to purchase requirement and an age restriction on ammunition that takes effect on the 1st of July, 2026. That one is real. It is dated. It is public. No conspiracy required. Now the part the panic videos never show you, because it cuts against the story they are selling. At the same time, some states tightened, the courts moved the other way. A federal appeals panel ruled California's ammunition background check system unconstitutional, and the full court is rehearing the case this year, with the federal Justice Department and a coalition of states backing the challenge. So the honest map is not a one-way road to confiscation. It is a fight moving in both directions at once, state by state, courtroom by courtroom. Anyone who tells you it is simpler than that is selling you something. Here is what that means in practice. If you live in a free shipping state, resupply is simple today, and the smart move is to store what you already have correctly so you are not endlessly rebuying. If you live in a regulated state, the paperwork is the real constraint, not availability. And knowing the exact requirement before you order saves you a rejected shipment and a wasted afternoon. I want to be clear about what this is and what it is not. This is not legal advice, and laws change faster than any video can keep up with. Always verify your own state's current rules before you buy, because the map I just described is already shifting under our feet. What does not change is the principle. The person who stores correctly buys less often. The person who buys less often is less exposed to whatever the law does next. Good storage is not only about preserving rounds, it is about needing the store less. That case in your closet was never really about the ammunition. It was about not being dependent on a supply chain or a store or a permit office. At the exact moment those things become hardest to reach. So you have 2 choices. You keep storing it the way almost everyone does, in the garage, in the trunk, in the damp corner of the basement, and you let the chemistry eat your insurance policy while the law grows more complicated around you. Or you spend almost nothing on a sealed can and a handful of desiccant, you move it to the one stable corner of your home, and you stop rebuying the same rounds every few years. The knowledge was always there. The military knew it. Your grandfather knew it. They simply never wrote it down where you could find it. Now you have it. The next research opens soon, and what we dig up next is the thing the preparedness industry least wants you to understand.